We will call the meeting to order for Wicomico County Council Legislative Session 2018-13, June 14th, 2018. Those of you that like to stand and join us in the Lord's Prayer and Pledge of Allegiance, please do.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Entertain a motion to approve the legislative minutes, special legislative minutes from June 1st, 2018.
You have a motion?
Entertain a motion. And a second. Any discussion or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Minutes are approved. Entertain a motion to approve the open work session minutes from May 1st, 2018, in reference to the FY19 budget
So moved.
overview. Sorry, budget overview.
Second.
Any questions or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Minutes are approved. Entertain a motion to approve the open work session minutes from May 15th in reference to the fiscal year 19 budget.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Minutes are approved. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes from May 15th in reference to the proposed charter amendments.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Minutes are approved. Good morning, Mr. Taylor. How are you?
Good morning. This morning we have for adoption Legislative Bill 2018-05, the annual budget and appropriation bill of Wicomico County, Maryland, to adopt the county budget consisting of the general fund revenue and expense budget for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2019, the capital budget for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2019, the governmental and expense funds budgets for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2019, and to appropriate funds for all expenditures for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018, and ending June 30, 2019. Let me explain that the bill that is in the briefing book and the copies that are on the table here differs from the bill that was introduced May 1st. And the difference is that it now reflects the different changes that the council discussed at the work sessions they've held, that you all have held since May 1st. So that there needs to be an amendment if you decide to go with all of those changes that you discussed. Specifically, there are three different exhibits. Actually, there are two exhibits and one appendix that would be changed. And they happen to be Appendix A and Exhibits A and C. And they reflect all of those changes that I just mentioned. Mrs. Hurley has prepared those, and I think she also has a list of the different changes. I would suggest in the motion that when the motion is made or just prior to the motion, that all of those different changes be discussed or at least mentioned briefly by council.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Taylor. Entertain a motion from council to approve Legislative Bill 2018-05, to adopt Legislative Bill 2018-05.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. As Mr. Taylor has suggested, I will read for the council what has been discussed in prior open work sessions so that the public and the council as a whole has a general idea of the combined changes that have been made. As was also suggested by Mr. Taylor at the end, it will require a motion to approve all of these recommendations with a second. and that will be one amendment to this legislative bill for the entire group of changes.
Yeah, I would suggest that that motion also mention the three new attachments that would be Exhibit A and C and Appendix A.
When we get, yes, okay. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. The explanations are as follows. The revenue explanation is first, that the agreed-upon revenue reduction in the amount of $411,197 is to remove the estimated abatements and deletions from the real property revenue, as this is revenue that the county will not receive during fiscal year 19. There was concern that the proposed real property revenue exceeded the revenue tax cap, but removing the $411,197 will keep it under the revenue cap that is provided in the county's charter. Second item, General Fund Number 04, State's Attorney's Office, a recommendation to add $80,000 to hire a new attorney. General Fund 05, Executive Administration, $25,120 was removed from salaries and $4,200 was removed from operating expenses. Fund 20, Volunteer Fire, $30,000 for the sinking fund to Station 13 was removed from operating expenses. Fund 30, Board of Education, the county executive proposed $750,000 to the Board of Education to be used as one-time, non-recurring expenses that would not impact the maintenance of effort amount in the future. It was discovered during the budget process, however, that the one-time, non-recurring expenses have to be submitted to the state of Maryland by March 31st of this same year for approval, which was not done prior to council receiving the proposed budget. This means any funding given to the Board of Education at this time in this manner would impact the required MOE amount going forward. Based on this information, it was decided that $500,000 of the $750,000 would be given to the Board of Education, of which $332,904 is for the increase to the MOE for the laptop carts funded in fiscal year 2018, and $167,096 is being given above the required maintenance of effort for fiscal year 2019. Total is $500,000. Next item, Fund 31, Warwick Community College, operating expenses were reduced by $212,370. That was in reference to the Worcester matter. Fund 32, Public Library, $61,000 is being recommended to be added to give the library employees 2% COLA. Fund 46, Contingency Transfer Revenues, is being reduced by $109,877 for the $100,000 that was removed from the airport and $9,877 for the original proposed salary reduction in Fund 05. And the final item is Fund 50 Roads. Operating expenses are being, a request is being made for operating expenses to be increased by $79,370 to help with stormwater management concerns throughout the county. Those are the list of amendments and recommendations to Legislative Bill 2018-05, which is currently on the table. Any discussion from council members on the recommended corrections or the legislative bill itself? First item we'll need then is for an amendment to be made, a motion to be made to amend Legislative Bill 2018-05 as stated in the this prior document.
So moved.
Need a second? Second. Any discussion?
And that motion also includes the exhibits that Mr. Taylor.
We're going to do that separately.
Oh, okay.
Thanks. That's good. We'll do that separately.
Okay.
Any further discussion? We'll do roll call on all these. All those in favor of the amendments as stated, state aye. John Hall.
Aye.
Councilman Hall. Councilman Kilmer.
Aye.
Vice President Dodd.
Aye.
Councilman Joe Holloway.
Aye.
Councilman Ernie Davis.
Aye.
Councilman Matt Holloway.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The amendments to that bill, Legislative Bill 2018-05 have been approved. Entertain a motion to incorporate amended Exhibit A, amended Appendix A, and amended Exhibit C showing the agreed-upon changes to the fiscal year 19 budget.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, we'll start with Councilman Matt Holloway.
Aye.
Councilman Davis.
Aye.
Councilman Joe Holloway.
Aye.
Vice President Dodd.
Aye.
Councilman Kilmer.
Aye.
Councilman Hall.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion to incorporate the exhibits and the appendix are approved. And the final motion is that we need an amendment, we need a motion to adopt Legislative Bill 2018-05 as amended. We'll begin. So move. Second? Second. All those in favor, starting with Councilman Hall?
Aye.
Councilman Kilmer?
Aye.
Vice President Dodd? Councilman Joe Holloway?
Aye.
Councilman Davis?
Aye.
And Councilman Matt Holloway?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Legislative Bill 2018-05 is approved and adopted as amended. Okay, that was a bit of work. Did I leave anything out, Mr. Taylor?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay. Mrs. Hurley, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. President, council members, ladies and gentlemen. Next on the agenda, we have Resolution Number 60, 2018, approving a fee schedule for the use of facilities at the Salisbury, Ocean City, Wicomico County Regional Airport. These fees are shown in the budget bill as Exhibit F that was just adopted. Typically, however, fees are approved by resolution, and that is just to keep track of the fees separately from the budget bill.
Thank you. Entertain a motion from council to approve Resolution 60-2018.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mrs. Dawn Beach is here if anyone has questions. Do we have questions? Would you like to come up? Nope. You busy? Are you busy? Have you got other things to do? Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Good morning, council.
Good morning.
The fee increases are part of the capital improvements that we've been doing at the airport for paving. You may know that we paved all the taxi lanes this current fiscal year. We've asked in our budget to be able to pave the ramp in front of the corporate hangars, and then also to paint all the facilities. Paint is not just aesthetic, it's also protection of our investment, because it's starting to deteriorate to a point of no recovery, and especially the corporate hangars. So what we've done is taken those expenses that are out of the county's pocket, amortized it over a 10-year period to recapture that cost that was expended out to the government or to the county. That's all the hangars. There's the FBO, the Purdue hangar, and the FedEx. Those are CPIs that are incorporated in their leases currently approved by the council, and it's just a routine thing that occurs every year for them. So those are my only expenses of fee increases this year. Next year, I'll have a lot more.
Are these monthly or are they yearly?
This is their monthly
Okay.
rate that they pay, the before and after.
What is your occupancy rate on your T-hangers?
100%.
So all your T-hangers are rented?
Yes, sir. I have a wait list that will exceed those that are being the RFP that's out right now to build new one. It exceeds it. Oh, that is my phone. Of course.
Is it yours?
Yes, it is, sir. I'm so sorry.
And your other hangars that you've increased, they're occupied also?
Yes, sir.
Everything's occupied?
The only one that isn't occupied, well, it's occupied, but not as a full rent as a corporate hangar, is our community hangar. We have a medical doctor in there that pays rent for the office space to do flight physicals, and then we use that hangar to keep tenants that need a place that our new T hangars aren't built yet. So we call it the community hangar. So they're renting it $350 a month per aircraft, and they're to share a hangar until the new ones are built, so we don't lose our customers.
Yeah, that was the same question I had from Joe as to what the status of the current tenants might be, whether you had any pushback from that. And
They are so happy.
good.
I've never had anybody so happy to pay more money.
So you're delivering a better service.
And Dawn, you're meeting with them once a month?
Yes, I still meet with my tenants, and I do a business tenant meeting with the airport commission meeting, and then I do every first Saturday. I do a meeting for all my hangar tenants that are typically the ones out there for the weekends because they're not working, and so they can come and make those meetings. And we talk about everything. I've been talking about painting and paving since my first week there, and they've all been anticipating it, and they're pleased that the increase was not more.
Great, excellent. Any other questions?
How does your rates compare to other airports, say Georgetown or Easton?
We're much less. We're much less.
Right.
Any other questions? Seeing none. All those in favor of Resolution 60-2018, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried, resolution passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do anything this afternoon?
Yes, sir.
What's,
Chamber, Salisbury Chamber Business After Hours, you're all invited, please come. We've got a great presentation, get to see the new lounge. I was hoping we'd get to announce the company that's gonna do the food service there. We still may, they're waiting on their insurance approval
Okay.
before I can officially
what
announce.
time is it?
5 to 7.
5 to 7?
Great.
All right, thank you very much.
Get your boarding pass on now.
Okay.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is Resolution Number 61, 2018, approving the schedule of fees and charges for services provided by the Wicomico County Department of Recreation, Parks, and Tourism. These fees and charges are also shown in the budget bill as Exhibit E. In the resolution, however, there is one typo. The entry for adult kickball team entry, or I'm sorry, the line item for the adult kickball team entry is $300. That's the current fee. The proposed fee is also $300. The resolution shows it as $4,300. The 4 should have been a dollar sign.
Okay. Would that require an amendment, formal amendment?
It's a typo, so I wouldn't think so, but Mr. Taylor can weigh in.
I think she's explained it. I think that covers it.
Okay. All right, entertain a motion to approve Resolution 61, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
In discussion. I know Steve Miller isn't here. Pam, did you want to? Sure. Good morning.
The list in front of you is the proposed rates that we are requesting for all of our recreation programs as well as our rentals of our pavilions. We just do a complete fee schedule, so when we look at our budget, we look at the cost to do those programs. A couple of them we're eliminating the fee because we're changing the concept of the fee from being either a team entry to an individual or vice versa. So if an amount is going away, it's because we're changing how we're allowing registration to happen. And additionally, we're looking at our costs associated with these, and that's why we've proposed certain rate increases for like the boat slips.
So the junior girls league fee entry is going from $225 and $250 to 0. So that means the individuals.
We're now going to do an individual entry.
So instead of having 12 kids on one team, if you have 16, you have to pay more per child.
There's a potential for that, but it's been hard to get people to pay the team fee because they then are the ones having to collect the money versus now they can just come in, pay us, the individual kids, and then they can be placed on a team. So that there is that, and sometimes we're chasing after people to get them to pay their fee.
So you're not allowing an individual team to join? Because you said you got to place them on a team.
They can sign. I can't answer that question. I can get back to you on that.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
That would be a question for James Simmons, who is, and I can't answer. I just know that we're restructuring how we're doing the sign-ups associated with it.
And I do know that Crown is increasing their fees to a per person and doing away with the team charge. So if you have a team of 16, you got to pay for 16 players. So it's pretty much the same concept.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the
I
team
will.
entry fee.
I can get back to you if you would like.
I would like, because I know a lot of people have kids playing in that league.
Any other questions?
On the boat slips, what's your occupancy rate on your boat slips at Nanticoke and Cedar Hill?
I don't have the exact percentages. I know Nanticoke is close to being full. Nanticoke has, it had historically been Cedar Hill that was more full, but now Nanticoke, with the turn in the economy, that one has actually become close to being full. Part of the changes that we're recommending on that, though, is allowing us, if you see on the exhibit attached, it allows us to charge late fees because we spend a lot of time chasing people for their boat slip. You know, they've had use of it, and we're having to follow up after them for not paying. And so now it's you pay up front or you don't have the slip.
You know, you charge the full amount up front.
That will be the new, we do currently charge, but there had been no ability to charge any late fee or anything like that, and so we were flexible. We are removing some of that flexibility.
So a lot of people leave their boat in year round, in other words. So when the springtime comes, they don't pay their bill.
Correct.
Right? So you have their boat with no money.
Yep.
Okay.
What do you do with their boat if they don't renew?
There is actually a process, and I don't know all the steps, but there is a process with DNR to, if people will not remove their boat, we then will get title to those boats and remove them and attempt to sell them and have the person who bought it remove it. It's not a short process, but we will get title to the boats.
So you can physically lock down the boat so they
Yes.
they can't knock them? Okay.
Do you store those boats or you keep them in the slip?
For the most part, we keep them in the slip because we don't have a storage facility.
It's too bad because you can't.
They use them on the weekend.
In the rental business.
Unless they're at the bottom of the slip.
I saw Mr. Strasburg going down the Wicomico River the other day. And something really elaborate.
I can't answer that one.
I have another question. I was trying to look and see if you handle the school rentals, like if team wanted to rent the soccer fields or the softball fields.
We do that. We are the person, but I don't believe we set those fees. That's
But it's not listed on here.
correct, because
Okay.
we are the person that they have to come to obtain those rentals, but those are, I believe, Board of Education rates, because we're having to pay for if it's an indoor facility or custodian or that kind of stuff.
Right, I know that during the basketball season, you
Yes.
have leagues going on, and you have to put somebody there to maintain it, but the softball field, you wouldn't have to put anybody out there, maybe just unlock the gate. Okay.
On your boat slip rentals, again, going back to that, what about weekend rentals, like transients? Do you,
We have an overnight rate, and it is on, a lot of times on the honor system, but in the summertime, we do have a harbor master who checks each harbor. And so, again, at Nanacoke, it's not as available because there aren't slips, but we do have a harbor master who will come in, and most people who are transients are actually contacting us saying, hey, I'm coming in, I need a slip.
Okay.
And we go through the process of renting them a slip, and they pay that.
okay, so, but you don't have that on this list, so you're not increasing that rental any?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions?
When this is adopted, is it possible for Parks and Recs to give us a copy of everything with all the charges, including the high school and the overnight rates?
I can look into that.
A lot of times people will ask us, and it's uncomfortable when you say, well, I have to get that until I'll get back with you. It'd be nice if we had access to it.
Any other questions from you? All those in favor of Resolution 61 of 2018, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, resolution passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pam.
Next is Resolution Number 62, 2018, to levy and impose a property tax for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2018, and ending June 30th, 2019, to provide for the payment of a service charge by a property owner under a semi-annual payment schedule, setting the tax rates for real and personal property, and providing for the collection of the property tax. And we have Dawn Parks, Finance Director, here if there are any questions.
Entertain a motion to approve Resolution 62, 2018.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried, resolution passes.
Okay, next is Resolution Number 63, 2018, approving the Warwick Community College expenditure budget by function for fiscal year 2019. This year, Worcester County and Wicomico County both reduced their appropriations to the college, so additional action is needed by council, and that is to approve the college spending authority by function for fiscal year 2019. And we do have Jennifer Zant here, Administrative Vice President of Warwick Community College.
Entertain a motion to approve Resolution 63, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion from council?
So as I understand it, since we cut the amount from their budget, we can approve this resolution that would allow them then to keep that amount of money in their budget, but they could raise their own revenue
Yes.
some way, tuition increase probably to pay for that. Do we need to amend the resolution to say that, or how do we go about doing that?
The resolution shows the full amount that's being requested. So if you wanted to reduce that spending authority, you would have to amend the resolution.
Right.
But the resolution as drafted shows the full amount.
Right, so that would allow them, the Warwick Board of Trustees, to take whatever action they deem necessary
Correct.
to. Okay.
That would be either raise tuition or cut costs, correct?
That is correct.
They have both those options, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea to allow them the flexibility to do that, so,
I think that's what was.
yeah.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Resolution 63, 2018, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried, resolution passes.
Mr. President, that's all I have.
Thank you. This time, we open the floor for public comments. If you have any comments you'd like to make, come to the podium, please. State your name, your county of residence, and your concerns. That concludes public comments for the day. Council comments? No? All right. Yes, Larry, go ahead.
Well, just as a reminder, this is early voting week starting today at 10 a.m., goes on to 8 p.m., and early voting continues until next Thursday, the 21st. And I'm running for re-election, so I'd like to have your vote. I'm also running for Wicomico County Republican Central Committee. Thank you.
Okay. Not sure if you're allowed to say that, Larry, but we'll move on.
Should have stopped.
Any other comments that are non-political?
I just wanted to remind people that we are having a overrun of mosquitoes, and I think everybody knows that. So if the council wants to proclaim this month the month of the mosquito, we can. But the county has also been trying to do some extra spraying, and it's not working. So, but anyway,
They're just getting bigger.
I think the citizens understand that. So, yeah, thank you.
And those employees are working late at night, too. So I'd like to thank them for leaving their families to help spray, because we are getting a lot of complaints.
Mark?
Well, since this is our budget meeting, I just want to say I think we had a pretty good budget process this year. I think the council worked well together to find a budget, and I think that there was good cooperation with the executive branch. This was, there was a lot of, changes made, but I think that all proceeded pretty smoothly, and I think that we ended up with a good budget that works well and that everybody, maybe they're not thrilled with, but can live with, and I think that's probably the best we can hope for. So I just appreciate all the work the council did to do this, and the work the executive branch did to make everything happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Kilmer. Any other council comments? Councilman Hall? Okay, all right. Under presidential comments, I would just reiterate what Councilman Kilmer said, that we have finally got the budget process out of the way. It was a very unusual, very lengthy process with a lot of new challenges that we really hadn't faced before. I think we handled it very well. I would have to attribute that 90% to staff, the internal auditor, Mr. Broser, and Mr. Hitchens, and Mr. Taylor, as well as Mrs. Sandy and Mrs. Hurley, because you did so much more work ahead of time for us that it made it much more easier for us to see what was coming and to know how to react. I think that process was excellent, and we really like to thank you for everything that you did, because this was there were a lot of unique changes that we had to consider this year. As Councilman Kilmer said, we made changes. You don't always make everybody happy, but in this case, I think we've made, I think we've got about 99% clearance here, is where we've done a good thing. I do like the fact that the council stood firm and did increase the maintenance effort for the Board of Education. I think that's important. I said before that everybody, a lot of times people don't want to give more money to the Board of Education. There's just this stigma that maybe they're not spending it properly. But, in this instance, I think we had there was a very clear definition as to what was required, what goals were being set, and what they actually needed to move forward. And I think that, more than anything, is why the council responded the way we did, to try to make sure that we could do more on behalf of the citizens of Wicomico County, for all the citizens of Wicomico County, who, of course, certainly are impacted by a great education in this county. So we're looking forward to seeing the changes from the Board of Education, how they're going to use those funds. I know we also did so with adding with the Wicomico County Library, because that is an important element to our county as a whole, and with the state's attorney's office. So as is always the case, there's only limited changes that we can make. There's only limited funding. But I think based on what was presented, I very much am pleased with how the county council put everything together with staff. Very pleased with the executive branch and how they coordinated everything with us at the last minute to make sure all the figures came out and that we had a clearly balanced budget by the time we were done. So I'd like to thank them as well. That being said, I actually have to say more in order to adjourn. So entertain a motion from council to adjourn from legislative session to go into closed session as the Urban Services Commission pursuant to the Local Government Article Section 3-305B7 to consult with legal counsel to preserve the attorney-client privilege.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.